Hey, sixth grade, you have a really long weekend, but now you have science. Yes. Anyways, hey, sixth grade, we are going to go over what's on page 140 through 142-ish. And the main topic we are going to talk about is convection and the mantle. Okay? So, we're talking about convection. What is convection? And the mantle. Okay? Well, first off, we have to talk about what convection is. Well, but convection is a type of heat transfer. So why don't we go ahead and make a little outline here to help us think about this a little more. Or we'll make a concept map, what the heck. So heat transfer, okay? The three types of heat transfer are, this is just what's in your book, we have radiation. We'll talk about what that is in a second. Sorry, it's all sideways. I'm just writing on this thing sideways. Whoa. The next kind we have is conduction. Like you conduct an orchestra. Conduction. And finally, convection. Okay, so radiation. What is radiation? So radiation is a transfer of energy through space. The word radiation has kind of gotten a bad rap a little bit, but radiation can be any way that heat is transferred through space in the form of energy. For example, the sunlight, the sun, releases radiation, or the word could be diffuses, whatever word you want to use there. And you probably heard the word radiation maybe in terms of therapy if someone has cancer, but actually radiation is not always bad. Kind of has got a bad rap by sun's radiation being poisonous, which it is to some extent, but not all of it, because we all need sun. Okay. Well, the heat transfer between materials by them touching is what we call conduction. Okay. So things that conduct heat, well, a hot pot, namely not a hot pot, but a hot pot on the stove. Okay? If you think about that, what is happening? Well, you have two materials. Namely, you have the heat from the stove, and then you have the actual metal, and the metal is conducting. Or maybe you're heating, maybe actually here's another way to think about it. Hot pot on this hot pot and spoon. You ever have a spoon in a pot, and then like you kind of leave the spoon in there, and you go touch the spoon, and it's like way too hot to touch? That's like conduction. Okay, that means that the heat has conducted itself or transferred between the material that is the pot to the spoon, and then eventually to your hand where it really hurt. Okay, and the last type of heat transfer that we're going to talk about, which is probably the most important for this particular section and for the mantle, is going to be convection. Convection is the heat transfer by the movement of currents. Okay, so it's heat transfer by the movement of currents within a liquid. Okay, um, in a liquid. Okay, we're going to be learning a lot about that. But something that you should really start thinking about is this new word, which I'm going to put over here because I think this is really important for you to think about. And this is the word density. Okay, density actually is talking about the measure of how much its mass over volume there is in a subject in a substance. So for now, let's just look at it like m over v, right? You know, some algebra, mass over volume. Okay, so that means if you have something that's very small with a really small volume that's very heavy, it's very dense. Something like that would be like a penny that weighed 10 pounds. That would be a very dense object. Okay? You probably could feel different things that are dense, like metals tend to be more dense than a balloon. Okay? But density is one of the concepts that plays a huge part in what we're talking about convection. So yeah, hopefully you guys understand what density is and convection, conduction, and radiation as the three types of heat transfer. And the next section we're going to go into on Tuesday, we'll talk about convection currents in our Earth. And I hope you guys are doing well and that this really helps you. Bye. Oh man, there's 4 seconds. I could have kept talking.